This is like my third fucking time ranting about Game of Thrones, but I honestly can't help myself. I'm not going to get into why episode 3 was so incredibly disappointing and bad. There's a great video that covers it called Unbridled Rage, or even Angry Joe did a great breakdown on everything wrong with episode 3 of season 8, so I'm not going to get into that, but I just watched episode 4. This shit is just going so goddamn horribly. Also, it turns out one of the writers for the show wrote the script for X-Men Origins Wolverine, so you know where the quality's coming from. And just like X-Men Origins Wolverine, what this movie needs is a full reboot, or this series needs is a full reboot. They need to redo season 8, wipe the slate clean, pretend this never happened. Everything we're seeing in season 8 is all vision of Bran seeing a possible future in which all of the writers suffer from dementia and suck serious fucking asshole at writing. It's so bad. So in episode 4, what's really got my dick super soft and making me very uncomfortably upset is just the pure shamelessness in the lazy, awful writing. I feel like Tommy Wiseau's written season 8 and he teamed up with Neil Breen to make it happen. Nothing in this season is making any sense compared to everything else. Not that season 7 was great or anything, but it at least had good moments. This has nothing good about it except for some good visuals that you could scarcely see in episode 3. This doesn't have anything redeeming about it. The beginning of episode 4 is fine. You know, it's cute, everyone's celebrating, everyone's fucking yeehaw. They left a coffee cup in the scene, though, from Starbucks. So you're telling me, this pretty much puts in a nutshell the amount of effort going into season 8. You're telling me in the 10 or so takes they did of this scene, no one decided to remove the Starbucks coffee cup from the scene? Now, I don't need to remind all of you, I was in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. All of you know that. That's why half of you are here, because I'm a big shot actor, so I understand how these things work. They do multiple takes. If an actress or actor even has a thought of farting, they're going to redo that take, so that way that thought's out of that actress's mind, because they want it perfect. So you're telling me that they wanted that Starbucks cup there? No. What happened is they probably did one fucking take because they don't care about this show anymore, and they just didn't remove the Starbucks cup. Editors either didn't see it, didn't care, didn't have time. Producers, showrunners, no one gave a fuck. So now you have a Starbucks coffee cup there, and I honestly hope that sits on the Iron Throne more than any of the other characters in this show. I would be elated if none of the characters succeed in their goals and Ed Sheeran comes riding in on the back of the Loch Ness Monster and takes the Iron Throne for himself. I'll take anything at this point that isn't where the show is heading because it's so fucking bad, cliche, predictable, and generic, which is never what Game of Thrones was about. It was all about subverting fantasy tropes, which it has now become only about doing fantasy tropes. Anyway, that's a minor detail that's just kind of silly that I think really shows how lazy they are or were with season 8. But what's really unforgivingly, unapologetically awful is when Daenerys loses one of her dragons in the episode. So in the scene, Daenerys and her crew are going to King's Landing. They're on their boats. She is flying with her dragons way overhead, and yet one of her dragons gets shot down by Euron's fleet. So she loses a dragon. How the fuck did she not see Euron's fleet? She is flying not very high, but high enough to see over everything in the general vicinity. And yet this fleet, which was right next to her, was able to catch her by surprise? Was she fucking flying with her eyes closed? Was she asleep? I don't get it. And yet that's what happened. Now going to the director's take on it for how it happened, listen to this shit.
And dozens more are mounted on the decks of the Iron Fleet. While Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces, they certainly haven't forgotten about her, and they're just waiting for her to come back. At this point, they would have gotten news that her armies emerged victorious and were going to head south, and so they're just waiting in ambush for her return.
In some ways, the most...
Do I look like some micro-dicked, snot-nosed, asshole-sniffing fucking idiot? How in the fuck do you expect me to believe that Daenerys forgot that her main enemy existed? Oh, she forgot that Euron's fleet was even a thing. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? That's a far cry from the first seasons with George helping. This is so silly. George himself, by the way, doesn't even watch the show and doesn't like the show, doesn't promote the show. He's wiped his hands of the show. So if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will. So your excuse, your reasoning for her being caught by surprise by this fleet from Euron is because she forgot they existed. Genius. That's galaxy brain shit. That's fucking amazing. And I already know what you euphoric atheist Redditors from the Game of Thrones subreddit are going to say with those enlightened bones of yours. Oh, she couldn't see that fleet over the mountain, you fucking idiot. No one could have seen that. Not even Bran could have known they were there. Mountain? Mountain next to the fleet. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not a mountain. Look at this. That's like a street curb. That's about as high as a fucking bar table. You're telling me that her flying, her view was obstructed by this very small obstacle? The fucking ship's sails go above that mountain. Daenerys wouldn't even need to see them. Anyone on the ships could have seen it peeking over. It's like when you were playing hide and seek with your parents as a kid, and you had like a really shitty hiding space behind the drapes, and you could see your feet underneath it, but your parents pretended not to see you. That's what happened in this episode. Except, higher stakes, it cost her the dragon, and the show is dead. The show fucking sucks. The show is so unbelievably bad, I can't stop venting about it. And yet there's still people defending it. I can't believe it. No matter how casual of a viewer you are, I don't know how you can defend shit like this when the director even says, yeah, she forgot. She forgot about her main enemy's force? The Euron fleet was like one of the biggest deals, is one of the biggest deals, and Daenerys forgot? You've got to be kidding me. Okay, let's excuse that. She forgot, I guess. She had a brief moment of Alzheimer's. You know what? Fair enough. All of her advisors forgot about the fleet too? Everyone forgot about it, just like everyone on the set forgot about the Starbucks coffee cup? It's so sad. It's really sad what this show has become, and even sadder that people are still limp-dickedly defending it. I understand, liking the show. No, that's totally fine. You're totally welcome to like it. But it's indefensible when the excuse is just bad writing. You can say, I still like it despite the bad writing, but to defend the writing, I think, is just an insult to people that actually pay attention to it. Not that I'm putting that above a casual viewer, because I don't think it matters. It's just there to entertain you at the end of the day. If you're entertained, that's all that matters. But I don't understand the defending it so vehemently and causing all of these Twitter fights like, oh, just overly cynical. Oh, you fucking suck for not just accepting things at face value and suspending your disbelief. Well, some people got really invested in it, like I did and like Jackson has, and we want to see the quality continue and have a satisfying conclusion, which it's not in our opinion, so it's totally within our right to complain about it, just like it's within your right to be entertained by the puppet show they're putting on now, the children's fantasy show they're putting on now. And that's totally fine. I just wanted to vent about it, and I really do think that you need to take a step back and see the writing's bad and just say, you know what, I like the show in spite of the bad writing, and that's totally fine. I can't wait for episode 5 next Sunday when Sora and Goofy come in and tell the cast that, they just need to believe in the heart of the cards, and with their keyblades they'll unlock the Iron Throne, dismantling it. Then Ned Stark will get revived, and he'll come in with a band and they'll play Freebird, and that's when all of the kingdoms come together in harmony and they live peacefully with no one ruler. In fact, now the people rule the kingdom. Power of friendship and plot armor will once again save the day in Game of Thrones, and that'll be the end of it. Put a nice bow on it, roll credits, just what George Martin wanted. George Martin isn't dead, but I guarantee he's already rolling over in his grave right now with what this show's become. It's so bad. It's really bad, in my opinion. And it should be your opinion too if you've watched the whole show, because this is just a huge difference from what the show used to be. Anyway, that's it. See ya.